A claim by the British Ministry of Defence that UFOs have no defence significance is designed solely to keep Parliament, the media and the public off our backs. According to former MOD UFO Desk Administrator, Nick Pope. Pope's statement was in response to the MOD's release last week of what it says is its final batch of UFO documents. Official MOD spokesman and one self-styled UFO expert, David Clark, claimed that the MOD found no evidence of a UFO threat to the UK and therefore closed its UFO desk. In reality, Pope says, the UK's Freedom of Information Act contains wide-ranging exemptions covering areas such as defence, security and intelligence. And the newly available documents had already been judged to be unclassified before their release.
If you're looking for the truth, these may be your last chance to find it. Among the final batch of the MOD's real-life X-Files released today, a photograph of a UFO hovering near Stonehenge, and this over Blackpool Pier.
I think that some of these craft are our own craft, which we have developed with the aid of alien technology. I know that's an outrageous thing to say, but that is the information I have from seriously highly qualified people who deal with this problem.
Other close encounters documented include the man who claimed to be living with an alien and another whose dog, car and tent were abducted when he was camping.
People are just interested in what's in the sky. There's a lot of military craft that are not identified. We never know what they are until probably 25 years later. But people just want to believe in different things, and some people do want to identify what they've seen just to satisfy their curiosity.
The UFO unit closed in 2009 after the MOD decided it no longer had any defence value, but it had been busy. Between 2000 and 2007 there were up to 200 reported sightings every year. But in 2009 that number had trebled, the highest recorded since 1978. While some say that's proof we're not alone, others claim it's more to do with the growing popularity of Chinese lanterns in the sky. Over the years, the files have brought us the weird and the wonderful, but never anything to suggest an extraterrestrial threat. But with everything from the UFO desk now in the public domain, it's up to us to decide whether the truth is out there or somewhere in here.
The truth is out there. Well, not according to the Ministry of Defence. Newly declassified files show that the MOD closed its UFO desk in 2009 because it served no defence purpose.
It's been quite obvious for many years that the Ministry of Defence were not really interested in this subject, and they were really just going through the motions. You only have to look at the files to see that no investigation was done, and in the most cases someone just simply jotted down some very basic details. Occasionally they would check to see if anything had been seen on radar, but most of the sightings were just filed away and forgotten about.
The 25 files released by the National Archive cover the work carried out during the final 2 years of the UFO desk, including accounts of alleged alien abductions, contact with aliens and common or garden UFO sightings.
The vast majority of things that are seen that people have reported to the police or to the local Air Force base are usually just ordinary people leaving the pub at night, sort of out on a walk or on the way to school, that sort of thing, who've seen a puzzling light in the sky or a shape in the sky, often very fleetingly, so it could be absolutely anything. And a lot of the reports that are logged by the UFO desk, it just simply says something like a UFO was seen.
The files are now available on the National Archives website, so the public can make up their own minds.
I mean, they never land because they're not there.
Let's look at the facts. First of all, there are 6 million planets in our galaxy alone. It just beggars belief to think that there is no other intelligent life.
That's another issue.
Well, it's a starting point. Then you have to decide, if there is intelligent life, would they be even 10 million years ahead of us? If so, they will be making interstellar journeys the way we will in even 2,000 years' time. Then it's a question of whether they've been here or not. I think if they've made like a 15 trillion mile journey, they'll be smart enough to cloak themselves from us. We won't be able to see them. First directive of Starfleet Command.
Why do they leave the lights on then? when they arrive.
I think, as you well know, young man, most of those sorts of observations of UFO sightings are made at roughly closing time all over the country. And I agree with you, 98% of them are explainable, but you know as well as I do, a small percentage of them have not been explained. And I think it's a crying shame that we're not, even for scientific reasons, keeping that phone line open.
Well, I agree with you on that, yeah. But I don't think it should be the military that are doing that and spending public money. I mean, I think, you know, scientists and interested individuals can do that kind of research.
Given the size of the universe, it's perfectly possible that there is life somewhere else in the universe. That seems a reasonable assumption to make. But when you look at the distances involved, I think the nearest sun, other than our own sun, is what, about 4
light years.
4 light years away,
yep.
And so many are billions of light years away. It's perfectly possible, given the laws of physics, that these lives could exist and we will never cross paths.
Quite possibly.
Never.
I think it was Patrick Moore that said we would expect to visit, possibly from an intergalactic civilization, once in the entire history of humanity. And yet, if you're looking at these files, they're here every night.
Yeah,
exactly. They've got nothing else to do.
Actually, well, they're just very interesting species, aren't they? They're coming to listen to your programme, perhaps. But the thing is, the reality
Some of
is...
them are on it.
Well, OK, yes, well, the complaints line will be once again buzzing for that.
No names, no fact drill.
The bottom line here is that, as Carl Sagan said, the universe ought to be teeming with life. There is an anomaly here. Why haven't they been here already? And I seriously believe...
Because they're too far away.
No, because... Look how much...
And maybe nobody knows how to... Even no matter how advanced you are, it's perfectly possible that nobody knows how to travel at the speed of light.
You don't have to get to the speed of light, but...
Well, you do if you're a billion miles away.
You get close to it. And how did we say they live for 100 years? They could live for 10,000 years.
But even if you travel at the speed of light, it could take 1 billion years to come from one of these stars. Am I right or am I wrong? I used to do astronomy as a wee lad.
Absolutely right.
Is that right? Thank you.
But actually, the bottom line here is, no, I actually had begged to differ, and I'll see your astronomy, and I'll raise you my grandfather, who was a professional astronomer, and he would tell you the galaxy is 100,000 light years across. You can make those kinds of journeys with advanced technology. In 100 years, we've gone from the first flight...
That?
Well, because in 100 years, we've come from the first flight to the most incredible advanced technology, the International Space Station. What will we be doing in 10,000 years or 1 million years? That's the kind of timescale. The big danger here, Andrew, is that intelligent civilizations could wipe themselves out. That was Carl Sagan's concern. If we survive this dangerous nuclear adolescence, if we can make it to 1 million years, then we will be the extraterrestrials. We'll be making those journeys.
Well, I reject the notion that there's no defence threat and that there's no evidence of anything from elsewhere, because behind the scenes, people in the defence intelligence community, Royal Air Force intelligence, naval intelligence, I would assume British Army intelligence, and I hope MI6, have adequate proof that some of these craft are very real and are from elsewhere. However, I accept that anything up to 90% or more of all the reports do not reflect actual alien vehicles, but they're very real, and some of them do pose a threat, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of reports from military pilots and civilian pilots of close encounters with unusual craft in the skies. And if you think the pilots have been drinking, I can assure you radar sets have confirmed these instances in most cases. Well, not necessarily. The people who are making those statements may be ignorant of the facts. But let me go back to someone I knew quite well, Air Marshal Sir Peter Horsley, former Deputy Chief of Strike Command, who told me that he was working in the Ministry of Defence in the early 1950s, and the Americans were in charge of the UFO situation. And at one point, Sir Peter asked an American general what was going on, and the American general said, "I'm sorry, Sir Peter." So he was not informed. However, in 1954, an actual meeting with an extraterrestrial was arranged for Sir Peter Horsley by a British Army general. And it was a 2-hour meeting in Chelsea, I gather. There was one witness, and Sir Peter told me that it was a very disconcerting experience, because this alien being, who was immaculately suited up, looked perfectly human, was able to read Sir Peter's mind, and he knew all Britain's top secret nuclear secrets. I'm in agreement with you on that and the Ministry of Defence. It's perfectly true that quite a number of aircraft which people see in the sky and perceive as UFOs are actually our own top secret craft. I'm 100% convinced of that. I have this from American authorities that it is a very sensitive situation. Some alien vehicles pose a threat to this planet, and there's no way any government's going to come out with that. There have been some exceptions in Brazil and Chile. Military intelligence officers have come forward to admit that definitely some UFOs are from elsewhere, and they've had their own personal encounters with them.
With no official address for our future sightings, there is at least a new app which will log UFO visits. And of course, there's always the British UFO Research Association.
But astrophysicists have found scientifically based information, obviously it's factual, that some of these planets do contain the same gases and elements that are abundant on Earth. Therefore, it's quite feasible and logical that some form of life can exist on these planets.
The grim reality is this: the British government has neither the money nor the interest in keeping its UFO desk open. The lines are now closed. This country's last line of defense against whatever or whoever may be out there is now down to us.
April 29 to May 3 of 2013, a citizen hearing was held in which 40 witnesses from 10 countries testified for 30 hours over 5 days to 6 former members of Congress. This testimony included direct witnesses and researchers to the Roswell event of July of 1947, the tampering with nuclear weapons at our SAC bases on numerous occasions, pilot sightings, of which there are thousands now, of silver disc maneuvering close and around military and civilian aircraft, and much, much more. We are in development of a documentary, but in the meantime, we would like to get that information out by the creation of DVD and Blu-ray sets. The cost of the editing and production, though, is substantial and not part of the original budget. So we're now reaching out to the public. With your help and your funding, we can get that done quickly and get that information out and keep the pressure on the government to end the truth embargo and bring about disclosure of the ET presence. Here is some of the testimony that was presented that week at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C.
The conclusion I've come to is incredibly wild, that those in charge have been successful in keeping secret the greatest story of mankind.
The evidence is overwhelming that Earth is being visited by intelligently controlled extraterrestrial spacecraft.
The CIA guy standing next to me says, we're confiscating all this data and you're all sworn to secrecy.
They've all been studying this. They have more data than I do.
So the government has dumped disinformation and misinformation into the field for decades. They've undermined research.
I have lost faith in representative government. I truly think we're in gridlock. It doesn't work, and so we need to make a change.
I think it's ignorant of any people not to seek out what we need to know to continue the universe.
You give this committee a lot of reasons for us to say, open those files.
You're walking up to it and you touch it. What do you do? Touch it that? Do you grab it? Tell us about that.
Okay. I started doing the walk around 360 of the object. And as I came around, I seen there was an inscription on the front. And
this is what you saw, right?
That's what I saw. So I started walking around the craft, and I seen the glyphs. And as I, ran my hand from the fabric of the craft, it was smooth to touch.
You ran your hands along it?
Oh, yeah.
I believe that the time is now to lift the veil of secrecy that has shrouded this subject for over 60 years, and the subject of UFOs should now be openly accepted in the mainstream media.
They exist, they are here to save us against the insanity of our leaders.
I agree with you, they should open those Roswell files.
There is only one way to regain trust: find and tell the truth.
If it's out there, if it's real, we have a right to know.
Up in the sky over Frezno today. Take a look at this. The KMPH newsroom received dozens of calls and emails from viewers all over the valley about this strange-looking object in the sky. So we sent out one of our photographers who shot this video. Witnesses say it seemed to stay in one place in the sky for nearly 4 hours. Several of you also sent in pictures of the odd orb, and the question everyone is asking is, what is it? To find out, we called the Frezno Yosemite Airport tower, the air tower, the FAA, and the local Air National Guard. Of course, no one seemed to know what it was.
Geauga County's Observatory Park will soon offer a unique new look at the planets and the stars. But as News Channel 5's Deborah Lee shows us, some Geauga County residents say they've already had a glimpse of what's in space, up close and personal.
You can't see it tonight, but as the story goes, something left a crop circle on this very spot at this Geauga County farm back in the 1950s.
I just remember them saying that it was a UFO, and this man came through and and saw it and went home to get someone and came back and it was gone.
It was Patty Clemson's grandparents' farm along Route 86 in Montville Township, about a mile from the soon-to-open Observatory Park, where tonight, lifelong Geauga County resident Glenn Froering shared his own memories of strange sightings here.
And there's this disc above the lake, perfectly stationary. And it just hovered there, and then all of a sudden it was like it was on a giant rubber band, and it just went woof like that.
There were no green men, just other strange-looking objects in places like this.
There were a lot more in the 50s, and my theory was we were setting off a lot of atom bombs, the Russians were setting them off, and I think somebody came down to investigate, say, are these idiots going to blow up the place here? So that's just my theory. And
you're joking, right?
No.
Patty Clemson was only 7 when the crop circles appeared on her grandparents' farm. Does the family believe it was a UFO?
Yeah.
Now you're probably wondering what you should do if a UFO lands in your backyard. Grab a camera, take a picture, and send it to Newsnet 5.
Max UFO News tries to bring you the best UFO podcasts and documentaries on the net, including Spacing Out,
Greetings everyone and welcome to Spacing Out.
Topic UFO.
Greetings everyone, thanks for tuning in.
And UFO TV. If you have enjoyed this episode of Max UFO News, please be sure to subscribe for your monthly update. Bye for now, and thanks for watching.